Shalom, Apostle Tahar coming back at you once again with this truth, giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Al Shai. And I'm going to entitle this, No Rapture on September 23rd, 2017, You Wacky Fake Christians. And this is based upon an article. And if you put in September 23rd, 2017 Rapture, you get a bunch of sites come up that you can choose from. Okay, it says here, and I'll leave the leave the site in the description box so you can read it yourself. I'm not going to read the whole article, but it says here, what will happen on September 23rd, 2017. I don't know, but I know that for sure that there's not going to be a rapture, all right? Of you wacky ass Christians, all right? It says, let's take a look at the evidence. Recently at Answers in Genesis, we have begun to get inquiries about a supposed event of great prophetic significance on September 23rd of this year. Many videos on the internet are promoting this. On this day, the sun will be in the constellation Virgo, along with the moon near Virgo's feet. Additionally, Jupiter will be in Virgo, while the planet Venus, Mars, and Mercury will be above and to the right of Virgo in the constellation Leo. Some people claim that this is a very rare event, allegedly only once in 7,000 years, and that it supposedly is a fulfillment of a sign in Revelation 12 verses 1 to 2. And I'll read part of it. It says, "And a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant and was crying out in birth pains and the agony giving birth." They don't even know what that means. Anyway, I'm not going to read anymore. You can read the article for yourself. There's a video as you scroll down. Dr. Danny Faulkner answers the question, what will happen on September 23rd, 2017, from the Johnson Observatory at the Creation Museum. Goes on to speak about examination of the claims. Goes on to say this year's event has attracted much more attention than previously. So why is this year so different? Like I said, I'm not going to read this whole article. Okay, it says conclusion. Let me see what this says. Let me read from here. It says, so what will happen on September 23rd? And by the way, we're in September 10th, I'm sorry. So you have a little less than 2 weeks before the supposed rapture is to come, which there's not going to be a rapture of you Renaissance/plantation Christians, you wacky ass Christians, all right? It says, I have identified several problems with the supposed sign of September 23rd, 2017. However, there are other broader problems with it. One of the, in other words, it's saying here, if you read it, that this guy doesn't think it's going to happen. This goes on to say, instead of setting dates, we ought to be ready for his return at any moment. Are you ready? And that rapture nonsense. Anyway, you know what I want to do? I want to go to bear with me for a minute. Okay, First Thessalonians 4. Okay, let's start at 13. It says, but I would have you to be, but I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning, and this is the Apostle Paul talking to the Israelites up in Thessalonica, them which are asleep, meaning that died, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that I'm gonna read it verbatim, Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus. I'm using the word Jesus. Jesus, no such word as Jesus. They wouldn't call him Jesus back then. There was no such thing as the letter J back then. That was the letter J came about in the 1700s. Or the late 1700s, early 1800s. It says, will God bring with him? 15 verse. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. Asleep means dead. It says, for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. You got some people that believe, such as William Bell, that this took place in 70 AD. No, this didn't take place yet. It's getting ready to take place in the future. It says, for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High of God, and the dead in the Lord shall rise first. And this is what they use, one of the scriptures that they use to back up this rapture thing. They said that we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. So this is one of the scriptures, the main scriptures that they use for this rapture thing. And the rapture, when you look up the word rapture is not in the scriptures, but the word rapture means to take, take into possession. Anyway, I'm going to go to one more scripture. Revelation 11, which you all know the scripture. I'm going to start at either the 8th or 9th verse. Okay, it says, let me start at the 10th verse. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, the Israelites, and make merry, and shall send gift one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. And you're being tormented now when you have to see us on these corners, on all over YouTube. The word for torment the word torment in the Greek is basanizo, and it means to test metals by the touchstone, which is a black siliceous stone used to test the purity of gold or silver. So when we go out on the highways and the byways, we're tormenting you by questioning everything that you Renaissance slash plantation Christians have been teaching for years. Like we test the image of the Lord, because you put up the image of the Lord as a so-called white man. So let me read on. It says, used to test the purity of gold or silver by the color of the streak produced on it by rubbing it with either metal. To question by applying torture. To torture. So it doesn't necessarily mean physical torture. It means to be in your face and challenging what you've been teaching for years. Goes on to say, to vex with grievous pains of body or mind. The reason why you got these fake ass Christians jumping up out the woodwork, going after the one Westers, which they call us, is because they're being vexed. It says to vex with grievous pains of body or mind. So how are we torturing you? We're torturing your mind to torment. It's a spiritual torture. It's a mental torture. You lose sleep over this. To be harassed. So you look at us as we're harassing you. When we come on in those corners, it's an harassment to you. You're being harassed, distressed of those who at sea are struggling with a headwind. So when you go back into the history of the prophets of Israel, we harassed the children of Israel. That's why they sought to kill us. And here we are back again, harassing you again, because it is a form of harassment, a spiritual, mental harassment, because we're questioning everything that you've been teaching since you devils got over here, since you deceived the world, pursuant to Revelation 20th chapter. Because when you had us in slavery, hardcore slavery, you gave us your form of what you thought Christianity was. So here we are throwing that back in your face and challenging everything that you taught. So it's a mental torment to you. Okay, reading on. Let me read let me read the 10th verse again. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets, which represent the two kingdoms of Israel on a macro level, I'm not going to go into the micro level, tormented them that dwell on the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet. Now when you notice this on the highways and the byways, all these camps that go out on the highways and the byways, we stand on our feet. If you notice that, we don't have beach chairs out there and lawn chairs out there sitting down and relaxing with our legs crossed. Whether we're out there for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. Now when we do the sit downs, we call it sit downs. That might be at a brother's home. We might sit down in that situation. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them. So the spirit is in us. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. So these Christians, Vocab Malone, these other guys, Jesus is the Word, G-Man. Now G-Man, he was at the camp site yesterday. Today's date is September 10, 2017. He was at the campsite yesterday, Saturday, but he didn't come to the main camp. He was down the street. And I'll see the video. I'll check out the video later. And I'm still waiting for the guy Jesus is the world with the tattoos on him. Deal with GMS Dallas, because you from the Dallas area, according to my understanding. And anyway, it says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, and this is getting ready to happen, the elect of Israel, come up hither, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. So if you want to talk about a rapture, the rapture is going to take place in the Most High's time, when he has the exact day and hour when he's going to come and rapture us. I use that word, rapture us, and the people that will be taken up will be Israelites, the elect of Israel. And that's why we refer to ourselves as a hopeful elect, because we hope that we are the elect. Scriptures say, give diligence to make thy calling and election sure. And then once we're taken up, 13th verse, in the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake was slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Most High of heaven. Anyway, I'm gonna close on that. But that we're gonna wait. We got what, 13 days for the 23rd, and we're gonna see if you devils are gonna be raptured. And you're not gonna be raptured, because you're not the children of the Most High. The Most High is only dealing with the children of Israel, starting with the elect. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.